Word. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. All right. Here we go. Thank you, Good Vibes Radio, for letting me listen to your synth while I work. All right, YouTube is live. Twitch is live. Wait, Twitch is not live. Kick live. All right. Twitch. Let's give it a moment. All right, Twitch is live as well. Here we go. Okay. All right. Cool. Happy Friday. Let's write a book. I am Gabriel Rathwig, author of Mercenary, Reincarnated as a Chef. Today, we are writing Mercenary, Reincarnated as a Chef, book number 3. And yeah. All right. So, as I said, my name is Gabriel Rathwig. We are writing Mercenary Reincarnated as a Chef. Today's goal is 2,500 words, 500 per half hour. That will be 2.5 hours of work. If we finish before that, we finish before that. I think yesterday I knocked out 2,800 words in like an hour 45. Wait. Yeah, and like 30 of that or 15 of that was like break time. So like 1250 every 45 minutes was like the speed. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, so 2,500 words. Our total word count is going to be 97, 98, comma 293. 98,293. That is our goal for the end of the day. That'll put us at 2,500 words, and then tomorrow we'll hit 100K, which is the word count goal for the book. My books are 100,000 words. That lets me hit 100%, so I know exactly how. It's an easy math problem to know how far along you are in your book. So like every 1,000 words is 1%. So 100,000 words, 100%. So today we'll do 2.5% or more, and we'll have less than 2.5 to go. Well, hopefully 2.703, less than that at the end of the day. Right now, we are at 95.793%. Pretty cool. Less than 5% of this book, and we're done. Now, it may go longer because this books go longer sometimes, but you know, that is what it is. Blah blah blah. Friday. So as it's Friday, I have people that have been watching the stream for a minute and others that have not. And what was I gonna say? If you have been watching the stream, you know that on Fridays I do a recap of Mercenary Reincarnated as a Chef, books 1, 2, and then what has happened so far in 3. And I'll do that today before I get started. What else? Writing tip. I'll give a writing tip today. What is a new writing tip? I did it on purpose, by the way. What is a good writing tip? Let's see. Good writing tip. I've been given so many. Let me think about a good one now. The grind, I guess. It's a grind. Like, I'm on it every day. It looks like it's 2.5 hours of work or less, but it's actually like I work all day because I'm thinking about writing all day. It doesn't seem like work, but it is a lot of work. So, and working every day is a grind. Doesn't matter what anybody says. If you work every day, you work every day. When you work for yourself, you have to work hard and work a lot. People are like, oh, you're a writer, it's not hard. Well, do it, man. Whatever you want to say isn't hard, go ahead and do it. And if your excuse is, oh, I just not lucky, people won't let me. Well, then that is on you, man. And you can do whatever you want to do. The grind, embrace it. Embrace the suck. It sucks, but it's actually pretty amazing. You get to do something that you want to do for a living, and nobody is making you, only you. So that's my tip. Grind it out. Enjoy it. Do it, you know. Cool. All right. So, anything else? Mercenary. Oh, yeah. Let me give a quick who I am. I guess I probably should do that in the beginning. I'm an author who is streaming. I'm a writer who is streaming. I'm not a streamer who is writing. What does that mean? I write books for a living. I'm a best-selling author on Amazon. I have over a dozen books on there. The next few months, I'll have half a dozen more. I've been up in the top 300, top 250 of all Amazon books. Pretty cool. Feels good. If you're a writer, a self-published writer, you know what that's like. It feels great. Yeah. What else? This stream is... I've been writing anyway. I'd be writing today anyway, but I figured why not stream it? I always get asked, how do you write books? What is it? Blah, 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 this, that. And I'm like, well, fuck it. If everybody asks, why not just stream it, since I'm going to be doing it anyway? And I hate doing TikTok, and I dislike having to do social media. I dislike having to post things on Facebook and TikTok and Instagram and whatever else the things are. So this is my attempt to go around that thing that everybody else, every other writer posts on TikTok, every other writer posts on Facebook, every other writer posts on Instagram. A few people I've seen on Twitch and Kick streaming their writing, but mostly they're just reading and fucking off. No offense, guys, but like, you're reading other people's books and writing other people's books, like not doing your own work. Not everybody, obviously. If you're doing the writing, don't take offense. Only people who are going to be offended are people not writing. But nobody else is doing it. And yeah. You want to learn how to write a book? I'm showing it. And the accountability of having at least even one person watch you do something, keeping me accountable. So I'm hitting my word goal every day, if not more. So yeah, it's a win-win situation. I make my money by selling books. I introduce myself to a new audience, and yeah. So somebody asked me, my partner asked me, he goes, hey, not my partner, my business partner. Yeah, my friend across the pond. He goes, hey, aren't you worried about somebody stealing your writing? And other people in the chat are like, hey, you worried about somebody stealing your writing? And I'm like, no, man, why? If you can write a book, man, go for it. You can steal my book, which is on this, which you can see, and so it's my IP, obviously, and you're gonna steal page after page and write the first quarter and then mash it all together. Good luck, bro. That's a lot of work. Just write your own book. It's so stupid. And also, people don't realize this. You can steal any book. You just copy whatever's out there written, and you just change the names and a few things in the setting, and voila, that's what's called right to market. It's what everybody else does. And with AI now too, you could do it. It's not what I do, but you know, hey, you want to make money, there's ways to do it without stealing my shit. So yeah, anyway, what else? Every stream, writing session, I'll say hi in the chats, and I'll turn them off because I don't have much bandwidth. And then at the end, after I hit my writing goal, I'll turn them back on, see if anybody's there, say hi, welcome, answer any questions, and yeah, that'll be it. So let's do that now. Dio. Hey, Dio, thanks, brother. Yeah, we're doing 2,500 a day plus. 75% of this book has been done in the last month, man. Good looking out. Nobody's watching on the Twitcher, and nobody's watching on the Kicker. So, let's change the name. Oh, we got one on Kick, and we got... Oh, I guess it'd probably be better if I just 0 on Twitch. So, anyway. Alright, Dio, I'm going to get started. I'm going to close these chats up, and I'll be back open at the end. Let's get some work going. Boom. Adios. Okay. So, we are on chapter 30 of Mercenary, Reincarnated as a Chef, book 3. But let's go ahead and give a recap of books 1, 2, and then what has happened so far in book 3. I'm going to do a little Stevie Wonder, Ray Charles while I do this because I have to access my, whatever part of the brain's long-term memory to remember what's happened because I've been writing these books for 2 years. It took me a month and a half to write book 1, a year to write book 2, and a month and a half to write book 3. That's some bullshit. Anyway, so Mercenary, Reincarnated as a Chef. Oh, also, if you're watching the stream and you find out about these books, which is a trilogy for Aethon Books Publishing, amazing publisher, so many good books out. If you like sci-fi, fantasy, romance, military, anything, thrillers, they have such a range. They're like the #1 digital publisher. I think Larry Correa is coming out with a book in a few days, and some others that I'm like looking forward to. I don't have enough time to read though. Yeah, check them out. But these books will be out this holiday season. So, and the narrator's Ralph Lister, which is dope. If you don't know who he is, he's the narrator for the Shogun series. Shogun was just made into a popular miniseries on FX. Super dope. It really falls in line with my From Chef to Crafter to Conqueror series, but with no sci-fi elements and more historical accuracy. So, yeah. Okay. Like I was saying, if you like this or whatever, buy the books. Appreciate it. I don't like pimping myself out, but hey, man. My wife said I gotta do it. Or if I want a baby, I gotta pimp myself out. Alright. So, I'll do that again at the end. I'll pour myself out at the end for you, son of a guns. Mercenary Reincarnated as a Chef 1 is about a mercenary assassin, a 50-plus-year-old mercenary assassin named Diamond Liu. And while he is on a mission in the jungles of the Amazon, he is killed and then brought back to life by a goddess named Azrael. Like the fallen angel, if anybody is familiar with biblical history of many different cultures. Not biblical, spiritual, biblical, whatever, history of many different cultures. Anyway, the goddess Azrael gives Liu the option of coming back to life and being reborn in another world. Liu declines, says fuck off. She persuades him because his true passion is to become a chef and restaurateur and owner of like an inn. So she tells him that he can. So he says yes, born in another world. And when he's born in that world, it's actually a tower delving world. A tower delving world means it's a giant magical tower where everybody goes in and kills monsters and gets those resources, and that's how they gain power. Liu's tricked into fighting, becomes a fighter, gets pissed off, runs away. As he runs away, he meets his first companion, Ragnar, a giant griffin, and they escape. Meet their next companion, Diddy, a 4-ish, 5-ish foot tall bonobo beast gorilla-like teenager, and then those three on their travels meet their fourth companion, Blanca Fang, who is a giant direwolf, white direwolf, alpha direwolf, leader of the tribe direwolves. The end of that book, they make it to a city called Helter Skelter, which is like a free city, and inside that city they meet the local noble's daughter, who happens to be the mayor of the city. They live with him for a while. Crazy stuff happens. They get attacked, blah, blah, blah. Liu almost dies, decides he needs to fight, and that's the end of book 1. Book 2, Liu decides he has to fight, and I did not mention that he is reborn as a 15-year-old boy who has none of his strength and such from his previous life, but the skills of being a mercenary assassin. And as a 15-year-old boy in book 2, he starts to retrain his body, and they decide to start delving the tower while opening their restaurant, and Liu's special skills happen to be, one, magical talent is he can cook food, and the food gives benefits and bonuses to everybody, magical ones, that eats it and makes them stronger. Book 2, things happen, delve tower, get stronger, fight monsters, blah, 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 and end of book 2. Liu and friends decide to become even stronger, and it's like book 2 is mostly progression, you know, them getting stronger. And at the end, they're getting ready to go to the celebration, and then book 3 begins like them getting ready to go to the celebration. They go to the celebration, and there's a big monster tower outbreak, big monster outbreak from the tower, and they get trapped where the celebration is, and they escape to where the place Lou was opening his restaurant and stuff. His friends were. They make their stand there. There happens to be magical bonuses from him fighting in his home, and from there they reconquer territory around them in the city of Helter Skelter, which is fully taken over by the monsters, as is the entire world. And Lou conquers, you know, the city a little bit at a time to get to some of his companions. The lady he saved in the first book, her father, who was the mayor, to save him, and blah 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 blah. Strength. Book 3, they get stronger to do that, and that brings us to now, where they all got stronger. They grew the territory they owned, but they were saving one of the noble houses that was left, and all the Lou and everybody's went except for Lou, because he's actually the weakest of everybody. But the other mayor's home, he had to go on his own to save them because of emergency, and he's there. He's almost dead, and he's going to fight and save them, and he ends up using his magic, which is basically like a form of creation magic, to create like a mini nuclear weapon, and he makes it blow up, and that's where we left off yesterday. He blows the nuclear weapon up, and what happens afterwards? And it's a very small nuke. It's a tactical nuke, so it doesn't kill the people he's trying to save, right? So you have to suspend a little disbelief. Yeah. All right. So let's get going. Mercenary, Reincarnated as a Chef, Book 2. Chapter 30. There's also a little romance, a little fun, jocularity, lots of food thrown in. Lou was back in the... Okay. Here we go. Chapter 30. Lou was back in the Void. He'd been there so many times that he had named the space the Void, and was no longer discombobulated by not having a body or physical senses. He had decided that this version of himself was the same as his teenage body or his old dead one. The insides of those vessels contained what he was beginning to think of as his spirit or soul. Over the last few weeks, Lou had become more philosophical and had internally debated many religious and other ideals since his previous visit with the goddess Azrael. One of those was the idea of a soul. He hadn't thought much about his or the idea of even having one. But that was before I sound like a reader. He had died the first time. Everything since then, things had just kept happening so fast. Things had just kept happening so fast that Lou had always felt off balance. It hadn't been until they were about to open the place that he'd started to feel like he was in some kind of equilibrium. Something close to equilibrium. And then the tower break happened. He didn't beat himself up about it and took the different route of theoretical abstraction. Lou looked at his life from the third person, going through his memories and actions and trying to categorize them to figure out who he truly was. When he died and the goddess told him he could be born again, Lou had rejected the offer outright, being tired of living and being tired of killing for a living. Having long since tired of killing for a living. Sorry. After Azrael explained that he could live his dream of opening a restaurant and inn, he changed his mind and accepted her offer with the condition of not having to, as long as he did not have to fight and kill anymore. The truth of the matter was that the goddess had straight out lied. The moment Lou was reborn in his 15-year-old body, he'd been processed, just like he had when joining the military, and forced to fight and kill. He'd been fighting and killing ever since. His new life was no different from his old, except for one thing. He had people he cared about, people he loved. The funny thing was that the ones he loved the most weren't human. Those thoughts were his new reason for being. The childish ideals he'd held about not killing had been tossed out when the Thieves Guild leader had almost gutted him from navel to neck. He still wanted to run a restaurant and inn, but he was under no more illusions about what he would need to do to make that dream happen. Lou had changed. Before, he'd lived a solid in his entire previous existence had been a solitary and lonely one, where the only person he needed to care for was himself. That had all changed in his second life. It only took an enormous, azure-colored griffin, a naive and overly kind bonobo gorilla princeling, and a surly and dour snow-white alpha direwolf, and a pair of adorable Tanuki sorcerers to show him that. Alright, here we are. 95, 810. So, goal is, let's get to 96. 96, then we'll get to 96.5, and then 97. It is 22 minutes and 45 seconds in, so whatever we hit, we'll minus 22 minutes from, okay? Here we go. He let those thoughts armor his mind as his body was battered by the chemical reactions by the forces released from the the devastating nuclear explosion. It had been a large gamble, one that he was sure that he'd been correct in one aspect, in two aspects. The first was that he gauged the relative size of the explosion to be just big enough to to encompass the mayor's courtyard without bleeding over into their defensive. The second comma was that even if anyone suffered radiation poisoning from the effects, comma, the healing magic, the range of healing magic available, and the buffs that would be extended when the place annexed the mayor's territory would be enough to heal all of them. Those were the two things that Lou knew for certain. There were a few more that he was a little more unsure of, one of those being very important: whether he'd survive. Let's go. He tried to muffle his screams and shouts of pain from the physical and mental battering he was taking. But then the burning started, and anywhere not fully covered by his coat was affected. Lou screamed as he felt his hair and back of his neck and cheeks burning. Only the fact that he held his gloved hands over his eyes and mouth kept that even more sensitive area and he was face down like a dog, kept that even more sensitive area relatively safe. He could feel the magic of healing his ravaged body, but it wasn't keeping up with the rate of damage. Lou could feel himself starting to lose it. He was starting to say goodbye with his mental goodbyes when the sound of when the feeling of when the shaking stopped and the pain lessened, allowing Lou to use a portion of his brain to think, to form coherent thoughts. The bomb was done and he was still alive. Barely. Lou, wasn't sure that he'd say he was alive, as the burning and melting skin covering him still sent waves of agony around his body non-stop. It was like there was a living gang of pain that rove up and down his extremities and pausing each round to stab him in the neck and head each time. Lou took a deep breath and shook his head, determined to get up despite the pain, and immediately regretted it. He instead lay back down and kept breathing deeply. After a minute of this, he tried again, but with no head shake. Oh, shoot. I think we are close to 2,000 to go. Let's go. 100 more words. Gingerly, very gingerly, he levered himself up with his elbows. The task seeming a task taking more effort than free climbing El Capitan. That was until he tried to stand up. Lou decided... Ephesius? I think it's Ephesius. Ephesius. Sisyphus. I think it's Sisyphus. Yeah. That Sisyphus himself would have gladly kept his boulder rather than trade tasks with Lou. An eternity later, 30 seconds, Lou was upright and staggering to the stairwell, where he stopped and cursed softly, his remaining strength unable to put any real oomph into his swears. Capitan. All right, that is 30 more seconds. 30 more words. Okay. Well, not quite gone, but buried under mounds of debris that Lou just noticed was scattered around the cellar, as well, with no sign of the doorway he'd previously jumped through. Lou dropped to his butt ox with a loud thump and grunt, causing himself more damage, but uncaring. He was stuck down here for the foreseeable future, if not for the remainder of his, for what remained of his short second life. Oh snap, guess what? I am over 500 words in 39:45 minus 22. 18 minutes. Pretty good for that 18 minutes. Let's see if we get a 500 in. Let's go. Dude, this is page 2. Yeah, so we need 4 more pages. All right. Think what happens next. Sat then decided to lay back and sprawl out across the debris covered floor, close his eyes, and just be. I think right here. Okay, we're gonna come back here after the goddess visit. Alright, so goddess visit here. What? You aren't even going to complain or start yelling at me? Azrael's voice sounded out in the void. Lou just gave the equivalent of a mental shrug in the void and stayed silent. The goddess appeared after a minute of the silent game. Wait, quiet. Stayed quiet. Silent game. A few feet in front of Lou's blob. Soul blob. In the same gorgeous form as when he first met her. The Latina bombshell with a long jet black hair, mocha colored skin, red eyes, heart-shaped lips, full Coke bottle figure, and most importantly, spaghetti halter top and old-fashioned Daisy Dukes. Cut off Daisy Dukes. The goddess was more than beautiful, even staring at him her face full of wrath and looking at him like he was less than an insect. Didn't change that fact. If anything, it just made her more beautiful, more gorgeous. But Lou was long past the stage in his life where he was swayed by beautiful women, goddess or not. He just waited and waited. That he wasn't in his new hormonal teenage body was a bonus, letting him keep a clear mind. Finally, the goddess snorted and shook her head like a horse, her mane of darker than black hair swinging around in mesmerizing fashion. Lou only just barely held on to his mind. The overt sexuality in the movement almost overwhelming his resolve. For the first time, he thought he gave thanks to all the powers that be, that at that that for making him a bodiless soul at that current moment. That's fine for now. Whatever. Okay. When she finished her tantrum, she locked eyes again with Lou, and her usual mask of playful seduction was back in place. She tutted at Lou for a few seconds before giving him a slight bow of the slight bow, one not fully mocking, but not lacking in it either. Yeah, we'll fix that later. I was thinking sleight of hand, that's why. The use of a small tactical nuclear weapon was something that I really did not consider when gifting you with your magic. Do you know the hell I've just been through with put through by the Tower officials and the pantheon of deities? Do you? Her mask slipping at the end and her voice rising to goddess shout status. Lou felt his soul start to unravel from the outside and prepared himself for true death. Sorry, I'm reading this. Doesn't make much sense. Okay, so we are at 96, 695. Let's get to 97. Then we only have 1293 to go. 52 minutes. 52 minutes. 52 minutes. 52 minutes. In 100 more words, we'll be at 1,000. Wait. Take 2,000 away. And 500 away from that. We're at 95. Yeah. So, yeah, we're over 1,000. We're at 95.5. 95.8. 95.8. Yeah, 95.8. So at 800 will be... I don't know. Let me think. I'll do it. I gotta... My mind's on the story. When he could still feel his mind thinking, and the seconds kept ticking by in his internal. Lou opened his soul's eyes. The goddess was back in her sultry, sexy sultry mode. This time pouting openly pouting. All of my plans, millennia of planning, all ruined because you did what I wanted you to. Think outside the box. But a nuclear weapon, and one with an unlimited supply, is not something the other gods and goddesses are allowing. The lead deities Even the tower. Even the ruler of the tower sent an edict. That hasn't been done in the last million years. Not since the last tower ruler of the tower was in the last million years. The ruler never talks, never contacts anyone. Never. She shouted. This time, when she looked at Lou, her eyes were wild and full of something he'd never expected to see in a goddess. Fear. $96,817, so in 183 words will be less than 12.93 to go. 1 hour, 57 minutes? For real? Yeah, baby, 57 minutes. Let's go. I turn this music up. I'm sorry. I feel like I'm on a roll. So, here we go. Is there anything that I can do? Lou asked, being sincere for the first time in his interactions with the supernatural being. While he considered himself a royal asshole on most occasions, taking advantage of a beautiful woman's mental breakdown, even if she was a goddess, was not a a bridge that was too far, even for Lou. Aw, snap. He waited quietly as the goddess murmured and ranted, pacing around the void, causing the space to phase in and out. An endless dark void, one moment, and a pure white eternity, vastness stretching in all directions the next. She did this for a while, for quite a while, giving Lou ample time to check his backlog of messages and go over his personal information. He was insert messages here. Insert character sheet here. Bum, bum, bum. Stretching time. Oof. Wait, not yet. 41 more. So 60 words. Let's go. Stretching time. Stretching time. He had just finished his Lou closed the last window and refocused on the goddess just as she was finishing up a particularly active rant and deciding something. Though her decision didn't seem very sure based on her body language and the fact she was gnawing on her nails like a crack addict after a 30-day bender. Eight more, here we go. This time when she looked at Lou, the wildness in her eyes had transformed to full-on craziness. If you have never been stared at in the eyes by a all-powerful goddess and breathtakingly beautiful and no, don't ruin my role, motherfucker. No. Uh-oh, can't exit. How do I do this? Oh, that's why. How do I get out of here? Formatting, not review. Editing. Okay. How do I do that? Control Z. There we go. Okay. And extremely insane goddess, then you have never felt true fear. $97.34. We got 1,259 to go. What are we at? An hour and 4? Not bad. Killing it. This is going to be later when he comes back. Oof. Stretch time. Oof. Oof. Ah, stretch. I think I'm gonna take a break at when I get to 1,000. Lou had thought he knew what the emotion, what the words terror and horror meant, having lived the lives and done the things that he had. But with the staring at him the way she was, he felt the words meaning on a visceral, bone deep manner. Bone deep. Almost cellular level. Yes, you can help me. She replied in a hiss, her eyes turning, starting to glow deep indigo as the pupils change to those of viper. You can help me by joining me on a short trip. Her insane cackling laughter did nothing to assuage Lou's fears. Instead, causing them to grow even more. Without another word, Azrael crossed the space between them in less than an instant. 1 second, she was she was cackling like a sexy insane witch. The next, she was directly in front of him, with her hand on where his shoulder would have been had he not been a Soul Blob. $105 words, 4 words, and we'll take a break. 104, and yo, I'm killing it on time. It's about to storm too. Let's get these last little bit, and then we'll take a break. Lou screamed, or tried to. But even his small control of his soul blob was gone. He was back in the what he deemed an astral tunnel of some sort, shooting across the cosmos as he had on his way. It was as it had been on his first trip from Earth to Sol, but this time the goddess was traveling next to him. He was about to say something and then realized he couldn't, but was also couldn't, and just as he realized, he remembered was about to ask the goddess for a little help. 2 more figures appeared on either side of him and Azrael. He immediately decided to make his soul blob as small and quiet and insignificant as possible. Whether the 2 newcomers knew he was there or cared, they didn't act well. He didn't know. But Lou wasn't going to announce himself to them, especially as they were in similar yet angrier states, to Azrael, though they seemed even angrier. There we are, less than 1,000. An hour and 14 minutes minus 22, less than an hour. See, we only have 900 words to go. So that's 1,600 words in less than an hour. That's pretty damn good. Maybe I'll just finish up, fuck it. Oh, let me just keep going, I guess. Oh, let me get to 97.5. And we'll see how I feel. Azrael, the larger of the two beings, roared. What Lou recognized as a Tengu-like figure from his knowledge of Japanese lore, roared, we should never have trusted you. You have got us all banned from the tower competition. You know what that means. We are dead. And it's all your fault. Is that really 97,373? I thought it was higher than that. Okay. The half, the cross, leaning eagle, a human, and Tengu. A weird, covered in the robes of a Shinto priest, raged at Azrael, lightning crackling around him in a ever-moving ball that seemed to change color with his emotion. That emotion was anger. That emotion at the moment was anger, and the lightning was a bright, evil red that made Lou's soul blob flinch back in fear from on its own. Fly. The other man, dressed as a particularly gaudy medieval minstrel, all in shades of green, so many that Lou didn't even realize that there were that many different versions of the color. It's go. Okay, thinking. The man stared back at Lou, but they locked eyes, and Lou knew this was a god. Of course, he assumed both the beings were, but now he had proof. The man's eyes, staring into the man's eyes, staring into the god's eyes was like staring into sorry, looking into the depths of infinity. Lou could feel his mind starting to break and used the entire breadth of his will to pull his soul blob's gaze from the green covered being's face. Elven face. Wait. Elven? No, what's the... Sylvan? Sylvan? No. Sylvan, maybe? Titania... What is the Midsummer's Night Dream? Fairy? Fairy face. From the green covered beings. Androgynous. Yet striking elven featured face. Okay. Deep breaths or what? With the deep heaving, wait. Think. For a few seconds there, Lou had almost lost himself, and if it wasn't for a memory of a story he'd heard about looking in the musician formerly known as Prince's eyes, he would have. He was sure he would have. I'm impressed. A voice a playful in a tortures ants, tortures bugs and small animals kind of way. Voice sounded in Lou's mind. Oh yeah, we almost there. Let's go. There are not many mortal beings that can stand up to the gaze of an Asgardian. You have the respect of Loki. Maybe things will not turn out as bad as my fellow conspirators believe it will. I do hope you will surprise and entertain me. Diamond Lou. The use of Lou's real name shocked all traces of every other emotion kicked out every single trace of every emotion besides shock. You used my name, Lou shouted mentally back. The euphoria of someone, anyone, or thing calling him by the name that he had grown up with and who he had tethered his mental image of himself, made something that was broken heal inside of him. Confidence, not cockiness, shot back through Lou's soul blob like continuously, like he was a lightning rod in a storm. Images and memories danced about in his mind, all forming and reforming themselves into new and old ideas that all clicked together, creating something new. The combination of parts, the sum of the individual parts, making something that was greater as a whole than Lou could have even thought possible. He knew things. He was sure about let's think. Lou knew things now that he'd never even tried to imagine, and was able to start putting those ideas into context with his abilities as a mercenary assassin, as a former mercenary assassin, and 15-year-old magical restaurateur with magical abilities. Lou felt as if he had been blind and now could see. It was lame, but not. He had no better. Lou felt like an idiot. His senses had been limited, and so limited before, and he hadn't even realized it. To think that he'd believed that there were only 5, maybe 6 senses made him was more than laughable. A whole new world was opening up for him, and he was about to delve into it when the argument between Azrael and the Tengu god began to get heated, grabbing Lou's attention. Damn it, Rajin is his name. I think it's Rajin. What's the god of storms? God of lightning, Japan. Rajin shouted, her voice so high and shrill, Lou was glad he didn't have any ears, or he was sure they'd be bleeding. Judging by the reaction of Loki and Raijin, and they were gods. Didn't pause her shrieking either. Continued berating the two gods. There is no choice. We are bringing this piece of scum garbage and throwing and giving him to the council. Then we are throwing ourselves to the ground then we are going to kowtow to the entire assembled of deities and beg for their forgiveness and lenience. Understand? Blue Soul Blood nodded profusely, did the equivalent of a spasm as he heard what she was doing, what she was planning for him, but held in his emotion, his newfound his mind already working in overdrive with all the new information he'd received. He decided to go along with the goddess for as long as he could while figuring out his newfound gifts and abilities. The other gods, the two gods, ears bleeding from Azrael's shrieks, healed themselves and nodded and grimaced first at each other before nodding begrudgingly to lose the goddess. There looks as if there is no other choice. Raijin mumbled. Ooh, okay. Yo, 1 hour, 40 minutes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I do this because I like to copy the chapter heading and put it for the next chapter. It's just like a superstition kind of a thing I do, so idiosyncrasy. Azrael's crazed eyes snapped over to the eagle, to the thunder god, causing him to duck his head in obeisance. Oh, let it go, Azrael. Loki called out in a sing-song tone voice. We both already agreed with you. So there is no reason to yell at us. It's out of all our hands now. We are, as you suggested, throwing ourselves on the mercy of the court. Azrael's eyes narrowed suspiciously as they flicked to Loki, and the two of them stared at one another in quiet as they all flew through the cosmos. $200 words, 170 to go. Yo, 170 to go, under 2 hours. It's not bad for take 1 to 2 minutes away. Knock this out. You better not be crossing me, Loki. I already warned you what would happen if that was the case. Loki placed his hands over his brow and face in mock fear and shame. I would never do such a thing, my dear Azrael. How would you even suggest that to me? I've been nothing but above board and honest with you for thousands of years. You wound me. Azrael scoffed and snorted at the god's reply, but broke her glaring stare. Turned her attention back ahead of them. Lou followed her gaze and was barely able to make out a brighter speck of light. A speck of light brighter than all the rest around it in the distance. And it was growing brighter and larger by the moment. Woohoo! Almost there. And we have 43 words to go. And I'm done for the day. The gates of heaven approach. Quiet. Quite. Ha ha! The gates of heaven approach. There is not much time left to prepare. So both of you need to listen up and do exactly as I say if we are to have any chance of surviving this. Now, Here is what you are to say and do. I'm done. Yes. 140. 1 hour, 50 minutes, minus 22 for a break. 1 hour, 28 minutes, 2,500 words, 1 hour, 28 minutes, 2,500 words, 1 hour, 28 minutes. 30, 44. 44 minutes, 1,250 words. Pretty dope. All right, let's save this. Okay. Either. So, I'm done. Dio, thank you so much, buddy. Take care. Thank you for watching on YouTube. Peace. Twitch. Boom. Stream manager. Thank you, everybody, for watching. I appreciate it. And no new followers. But, hey, man. Cool. Back tomorrow, and we'll finish this book on Saturday. Deuces Twitch. And finally, Kick. Thank you, everybody, for watching. I'm going to get out of here. And we will finish this book on the morrow. Yeah. I think that's it. Take care. Bong bong. Deuces.